Hello and welcome to this overview. We look at trade creditor reports, long-term liability reports, other current liability reports, and equity reports. Now let's start with trade creditor reports. Let's start with P3, the annual creditors ledger. Now, this is where we find all individual creditor accounts. We scroll up. Individual creditor accounts are found here, and you find transactions for the whole financial year. Next to that, we look at, trade creditors control account, that is P2. Click this button. And remember, all entries that end up in the creditors ledger are duplicates of what is here, starting from opening balances to everything. And this is the creditors control account. This one is to control double entry in the general ledger. That's account 224. And let's scroll up again to P1. Now, P4 is the creditor summary and reconciliation. It summarizes this P2 account. As you've seen, it's pretty long. And then it also lists balances outstanding in the creditor's ledger. So it's a summary of these two. Let's click that. So the top part shows the opening balances, the opening balance on the control account. Now remember, there's a button here to take us to the detailed account if we need to. Now these are the total debits on the account, total credits, and this is the closing balance on the control account, which is the same as that, and it should agree with the sum of outstanding creditors below. Now this one does, yes, we got it. That's a 22,761 in there. And of course below here is the list of outstanding creditors, and this is auto-generated. Saves a lot of time. Now if you want to go to the creditors ledger, then you click that button and you'll get there. The next category of reports to look at is in the QQ section, long-term liability reports. So let's start with Q4, loan and hire purchase accounts. This is the most detailed. This Q4 here, individual detailed accounts stretching from 225 to 230. 225 to 230, all details are in there. Back. Now let's scroll down to get to the Q. Next to that, now Q3 is the last loan statement and hire purchase statements, which should be available in hard copy. Now Q2 is the loan and hire purchases summary and reconciliation. However, at the moment, these two reports are together. So when you click any of them, you end up on either of them. So let's click Q2. Now Q1 is the upper part, and then Q2 is lower below. Let's start with Q2. Now apparently Q2 is a series of summary accounts. All right, let's start with Q1. Now it gives an overview of accounts 225 up to 230, starting with their opening balances. You look at the first quarter balances, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, and final balances at the year end. So this figure should be on the balance sheet. These individual account balances should be on report B4, which is the notes to financial statements. Now below here is report Q2. Now, apparently, these are summaries of the 5 loan accounts. Each loan account has got its own summary. We've got loan 1 there. Then below this is the hire purchases summary. And then we've got loan 2, we have loan 3, loan 4, and so on up to loan 5. Each one of them has got its own summary account. Now, this summary account, it really summarizes the detailed ledger account. And remember, there's a button up here if you want to access the detailed ledger accounts. If we're looking at loan 1, we're saying the opening balance is 8,400. Now, loan repaid during the year was 2,600. Interest accrued and fees during the year was 600. That takes us to a closing balance of 6,400. Now, that one should agree with the last statement for that loan account at the year end, and we should have a 0 difference. If there is no 0 in that box, then we need to investigate the cause of difference. So we've got a similar summary for each of the loan accounts and the hire purchases summary. Remember, we only have one account for hire purchases in the whole setup. So that brings us to the end of reports in the Q section. Let's scroll down now to the R section, which is other current liability reports. Let's start with the most detailed, which is R5. And that is accounts 234 to 256. 234 to 256, just the ordinary detailed accounts with all transactions for the whole financial year. And then we get to R4, which is a summary of the accounts on R5. 234 to, let's have a quick look at that. Basically, it shows the opening balances brought forward for each of the accounts. First quarter balance, second quarter, third, fourth, year-end adjustments, and the grand total. Click that, takes you to the detailed accounts. Let's get back to our list of reports. So now R3 is the last credit card statements. We cater for up to 5 credit card accounts. And then R2 is the credit card summary and reconciliation. Let's have a look at this. Credit card summary and reconciliation for each of the 5 credit card accounts or credit cards. So opening balance, total debits, total credits, and closing balance. And then, of course, that closing balance should be reconciled with the last credit card statement, and it should have a 0 difference before this report is presented. Now that box is blue before any figures are entered, and once you begin typing anything in there, then the blue color disappears. Okay, so that is the summary of credit cards, and this is report R2, and now we're looking at report R1. R1 should be accruals, computations, and estimates. Now, these computations, now basically I just entered any data in here, but otherwise this should be blank. It should be blank, ready for you to type figures in there. Yeah, and after typing the accruals computations, remember this is not a computation, this was just to test this blank sheet. What you'll get, of course, is going to be blank. And let me see. Let's see if we can see a blank one here. Blank one as it should be. Blank one as it should be. That should be R1. Yes, it should be blank like that. So you type, you enter the data, and then you print out. And then let's continue here. Let's continue here to our list of outstanding reports. And then that brings us to the end of reports, other current liability reports, and then we finalize with equity reports. Let's start with S3, detailed accounts, drawings accounts, really, accounts 262 to 265, where we record values taken from the business by the owner. And after that, we go to report the summary of these equity accounts. We click S2 there. Apparently only one account was used in this case, so it shows from opening balances to the final balance, including year-end adjustments. And then the final report in this case is S1. S1 is the capital accounts. Now you realize that S1 doesn't have a summary simply because there are not too many accounts. There's not a lot of activity on these accounts, so we didn't find it necessary to generate a summary for them. So this is the final report in our overview, and that brings us to the end of this preview. That brings us to the end of this preview. Remember the modules we looked at. We looked at miscellaneous, we looked at receipts and refund, purchases and payments, purchases and refunds, sorry, we've got fixed assets there, payments, or these are buttons, the different forms, loans and credit card, credit transactions, we got creditors there, and then we have debtors forms there. And then we get to reports. We've got period and year-end reports, period and year-end reports, and then year-end reports. There's about 17 classifications. I do encourage you to get a copy of this app. It gives you an opportunity to practice. Now let's see if we can see, and apparently the cost is quite affordable. It's quite affordable. If you're going to a place to get documents of practice, you're going to pay lots of money. So with that, I wish to thank you and looking forward to communicating with you. Now, we do organize question and answer sessions online. So in case you've got any, then you send us an email, we schedule online, and then we link up and we chat about all this. Thank you so much.